Okay. So you are on trap. You spawn north of A. You are heading towards A, which I would say kid in this matchup against a small and Jutland, Benson, Nakazuki. That's a great place for you to go. Your spotting is quite good. Obviously, you're going to be mutually spotting the Benson. The Jutland, I think, is a little bit better, but the Aki and the Smalland have worse detection than you. They do have all three of their cruisers are radar, and two of your cruisers are radar. So you're coming into the cap from the island. This is a good place to come in from if you want to play on that island. Because you're going a little bit into the cap before you make your turn out, you might be better off going out a little wider, coming in at the top of the cap and going out wide. But however, I noticed in this game that you play very close to your team and you play very close support for them. So that makes sense that you come in from that island. It's just I don't like going around corners of islands when the possibility of getting spotted is there as soon as you come around the corner. Early in the game, that's not really a problem though. So here the Cleveland uses radar. He catches the small one there, and you're just content to just sit there. I like to get as much damage on DDs early as I can. He's in radar range. He's not going to be in radar range for a long, long time, but I probably there would be smoking up and then getting as much damage as I could on that small end. Cleveland takes a big chunk there, and you head back to smoke him up. My personal preference is to push the envelope a little bit, and I'd probably be playing close to the radar ranges. However, there's a lot of radar there. That's a Cleveland, Nevsky, and a Smalland. My aggressiveness would probably end up getting me blapped pretty good. So the fact that you're staying close to your team is probably good for sure. You get the cap and you come to smoke the Cleveland. Here, I've got a bit problem with this smoke screen here. You turn it right and you go back in towards the cap here. You would have been better to turn it in towards the Cleveland and come back across the top of the cap. It just gives you more options to evade now that this radar is coming here. And you can either stop and let the smoke screen cover you up or turn out of the cap and go away. Whereas this one, you end up having to turn away and now you're in your smoke screen way too deep in the cap. Smoking up a Cleveland is a great choice. Cleveland's smoke firing penalty is low enough that that's a very good use of a smoke screen. The other problem with going in the way you did, you started it before the Cleveland and then turned back and came back underneath. The smoke screen only is half as wide as it could be. If you would have turned into the Cleveland and then come back out across the top of the cap, it would be full length coming out there, and it would give all those ships opportunity to turn around if they wanted to. It might also cover up your battleship that's kiting away from the cap in between his salvos. You're looking to get torps off here. Yeah, absolutely. I'd be pushing the envelope here, trying to get some torps off. You're in a kid. You got heals. You can definitely try and get a little closer and get some torps off. The Nevsky's pushing away right now. The only thing you really got to worry about, because that was probably the Cleveland radar, is the Smalland radar right now. So right now, there's the radar from the Cleveland again. You know there's nothing within 8.5 of him, so you could push in towards that Cleveland and get some torps on his position there against the island. Everything's pushed back fairly far, and you're in a kid. It's fairly maneuverable. The thing that's going to punish you the most at this range is obviously the Cleveland, and his shells are pretty floaty. The Smalland as well. You could consider starting to take some pot shots at the Cleveland and trying to keep him lit. However, there's a Jutland there as well now, and those two DDs could definitely punish you, but they are at a far enough range that you should be able to go dark after attracting a little bit of attention on the Cleveland. Instead, you are providing very good spotting for your team, so you're definitely not hurting your team by staying dark. You are definitely providing good spotting to them, considering you've got them all in smoke now. And here, you do end up opening up here and doing exactly what I was thinking right a few seconds ago anyways. And yeah, you're chipping in, you're taking some attention away from your team there. And basically, it's a low risk play, so. It also has good advantage of keeping him lit because he keeps shooting at you. So in the 20 seconds it takes for you to go dark and him to keep firing, it's another 20 seconds. So pretty much 40 seconds total that you keep him lit. And now he's in range there, and you can launch those torps now, which is perfect. So you got two options here, kind of. You can either go back towards your team and smoke like you do here, or the other option is you could start to play kind of in the I2 area and see if you can get some torps off from a different angle. Right now, anything that is threatening from you towards the enemy team is all coming from the same direction as your teammates, and doesn't give you any kind of crossfire or cross torps, so they're able to angle well against all the attacks. Whereas if you're in the I2 area, you could probably get some torps in towards that Cleveland position that would force him to either push up or completely retreat, or take fire from your teammates. However, your teammates are now going through the channel into the area between A and B for whatever reason, and deserting this corner here. You smoke up a Petro, which is fine if that Petro wants to go dark. However, he's continuing to fire, so he doesn't want to go dark. I don't know right off the top of my head what the smoke firing is of a Petro, but looking at where that Jutland is, that smoke is not doing him any good as long as he has targets to shoot at. That smoke might be better laid, used for you to engage in against the enemy Jutland in coordination with your Petro's radar when he uses it. But I definitely can't fault you for trying to support your teammates. Cleveland pushing up here definitely is a problem here. It is only you and a Petro now against what looks to be a Cleveland, a Kansas, and a Jutland, and that Jutland is pretty much full health. The Cleveland, okay, it's a Cleveland. You can stay and kite away from him. If you get involved in a close range duel with the Jutland, not a good fight for you. So you need the Petro's help, and the best help you get from the Petro is going to be by keeping him alive and getting rid of this Cleveland for him. Super good torps there, right in line from him. It forces him to either eat the torps or give a little bit more angle to the Petro. That's a great torp right there. So now the Petro's opening up on the Jutland. Even at that range, the Jutland's trying to go dark. I would be firing everything I've got on this Jutland. A couple shell hits on him could make the difference between you being able to engage in a closer range duel later in the game with him. It's basically something I term as free damage. It's not damage he's going to turn back and deal back to you. Everything you would deal against the Jutland right now would basically be all in your favor. He's all alone. There's nothing there to help him. The Kansas is going the other way. The small one was last in B cap. Not sure where he's going to go after, but he's not here right now. Had a little bit of a glitch here when I was recording. Screensaver decided to go on here. But now you know exactly where everything is. You know where the Kansas is. You know where the small is. You know where the Jutland is. Kansas is pushing in towards your Petro. Jutland's running away. And the small is starting to come back. Kind of running away from your ships that are crashing into B right now. As the enemy team is going to completely overtake C. Here, I would say this smoke is pretty much useless. If the Petro is going to shoot, He's going to get spotted by the Jutland if the Jutland's playing anywhere close and towards the cap. Now that the radar is down, he probably is. So if the Petra decides to come forward, even if he's protected by the island from the Kansas, the Jutland's still going to spot him. If he doesn't want to engage the Kansas, he can just keep backing up around the island. So I would say this smoke is pretty much useless and would be much better spent on you engaging the Jutland. The other problem is even if the Petra wants to camp that corner now as the Kansas is coming in and doesn't quite have the spotting on him, you can now not provide that spotting on the Kansas. You are now your team is completely reliant on the Oster to spot him, because you cannot get a line of sight on the Kansas without going into the Kansas's range or going behind the smoke screen. So here, I would be pushing this engagement against the Jutland. He is fairly low. You've got a lot of heals left, and you could definitely force an engagement against him rather than sticking around for the Kansas here. The Petra can take care of himself against the Kansas. If you get rid of the Jutland, there's no chance of you getting 2v1 in a few minutes' time between him and the Småland. Instead, you're trying to protect your Petra, which is good. But I think you'd be much more used against the Jutland. Once you got rid of the Jutland, like the Petra can bow tank the Kansas. He's not going to go down very easily at 27k. And then you can then start going harassing the flank at B once the Jutland was down. So regardless, the Småland died there. Your Oster, for some reason, really screwed up that DD engagement and died as well. He was way ahead and somehow died. I didn't really see how or why, but he shouldn't have. So yeah, here it's kind of risky to do torps. You don't know whether the Petra's going to keep camping the island. He's been camping the island pretty much for the last 5 or 6 minutes anyways, so pretty safe bet to say that he's not going to go in front of those torps. But yeah, continue to get rid of this Kansas. If you're not going to go after the Jutland, yeah, you might as well start working down this Kansas with him as fast as possible. So, down goes the Kansas. Second kill. Good work. You know where the Jutland is because he's spamming the Petra right now from behind that island somewhere. So you know where he is. Your team is up in points, way down in ships, and way behind on map positioning. Down to 3 ships now. There's not a whole lot you're going to be able to do. Need to stop the points bleed, though. Head to B, which is what you do here. Again, I'm kind of the belief that smokescreen for Petro is kind of useless at this point in the game. It's not like he's going to go and heal up or disengage from something. You're smoking him into the face of the enemy. He's going to shoot. He's going to get spotted. The smokescreen is then pretty much worthless. You would be much better off trying to use this smokescreen for your advantage with him behind you spotting or radaring. So I went and looked it up. It's 10.3. So he is getting some use of it here right now. However, as soon as the Jutland decides to come around the corner, either way, it's going to make it a moot point. But he is making some use out of it. So here's where it would be really nice to have that smoke screen. You start the engagement against the Jutland, he starts shooting at you, and then you smoke up, and the Petra is able to keep him spotted or radar. However, maybe without that smoke screen, the Petra would be already dead, possibly, by taking some lucky pens from the GK. But there's the radar anyways, and you would have been able to keep a little bit of damage. I would be using those heals as early as possible when you start this gun duel. You could have definitely used that heal, and you'd be healing it faster, and you'd get possibly another heal up before the game ends. That's a great torp salvo on that GK, especially on one of those duels where two ships are coming at each other. It's very hard to predict those torps, and you getting 3 torps on him is absolutely wonderful. So Jutland's shooting at you. You're continuing to shoot at the GK. I would have switched to the Jutland immediately. He's super low. He doesn't have a smoke. You don't have a smoke. It's just a straight up gun duel. You do end up switching to him here. However, it's a little bit too late. You could have gotten another 2 or 3 salvos in first and probably killed him before he got around that island. But he gets away. At this point in time, it's just a matter of when do you get rushed down by something. There's ships everywhere around you, and you're spotted, and you don't got much health left, and it's nothing you can do at this point to turn this game. Your team lost epically at sea, while you guys managed to get in the face of a Smolensk, a Cleveland, Nevsky, and a Jutland. You play quite passively and supportive of your teammates, which is good. You're definitely not going to lose your team games by doing that. However, finding some of those carry plays might not happen as much if you find yourself just playing support ship to your teammates. But it's a very fine line between going and trying to find those carry plays and executing them, or just dying epically and not helping your team at all. So this is solid play. This is a very solid game from you, and like I said, you're not going to lose your team game by your play at all. And looking at this, there wasn't a whole pile extra you could have done on A that would have helped your team win that faster. With a Nevsky and a Cleveland and a Smolensk, you just got to play way too careful around those ships. So on the subject of team play, you played your ship just about 100% in support of your teammates, which is really good. However, you got to be careful what you're doing with your support. What are you enhancing? Using your ship wholly as support to your teammates, you are then bound by how good your teammates are and how good they are able to use your support. Not knowing how good some of those players are, you might be using all of your support to enhance a cruiser that is being played at 25% efficiency, say. So even if your support enhances him by 100%, he's now playing his ship at 50% efficiency, whereas you're getting not nearly as much use out of your ship, and you're actually hurting the efficiency of yourself. So that's it's kind of a teeter-totter. Which way do you want to go with the support that your ship's able to give, And if you throw all your support behind teammates that aren't able to use it as effectively as other teammates or yourself, then that actually might hurt your team.